Galach with a big cross.
Okay, good morning.
Manishma.
Told them I'm not allowed to do that.
Put the cross away, yeah. Hey, Herb, how are you, Herb?
So Charles said,
Good morning. How are you, Rabbi?
"Go first."
I don't know if Michael will be able to come. He was at Rabbi Schusterman's son's bar mitzvah up here in New Jersey.
Okay.
And he left around 9 o'clock. So
So let me see if I can post something. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can get a post going here. Brachot 54.
Right on top.
Yeah, 54a right on top. New chapter, final chapter of Tractate Brachot.
Wow. All these pages is one chapter. The last page, or the last pages, we are already. Wait a minute. They start counting from the beginning? No.
No, from Beth. No. Okay.
So it's only summer.
Samach Daled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get this up. Okay.
Noon.
1 minute.
Noon summer.
One second.
As in the previous chapter, all the missions.
Okay, I just have to see if there is a way of showing us. You know what? Hold on. Yeah, 1 minute, please. I have to put just the English up. Sorry.
Somebody at the door.
Okay, now I can put it in and we'll start. Because I have my phone. It's much harder on the phone for some reason. Share. Web URL. Paste. Share. There we are. Okay. So I only have the English today because I can't share the Safari. Okay. Okay. Haroa Malcolm Shana. Haroa Malcolm Shana Sabonisim Li Israel. Someone who sees the place that miracles were done for the Jewish people. Right? So Omer, he says, okay. Okay. So Aram, Malcolm Shabbat Israel, someone who sees a place where miracles were done for the Jewish people. Omer, he says, Baruch Shasa Nisim Lavaseinu B'Malkam Hazeh. Blessed is he who has done miracles for our fathers in this time.
And what comes right after?
Malcolm Shenakri Menu Akum, a place that idol worship has been eradicated from.
But yet, among people that worship idol worshiper, there's still tzaddikim.
Not necessarily. Not by. Oh, Michal, you're here. Excellent. Okay, good. So you're here, Michal. Michal posted
Good
it.
morning, Rabbi. Good morning.
Morning. So now I can stop share because your post is going to be much better. I can't get the Safaria to share. So thank you. Good to see you. So a place that idol worship is eradicated from. So you say a bracha. So if you pass a place in Israel, where there once was an idolatrous temple, right? Ethan, I'm going to take that home because no one ate any. It's from the house. Blessed is he, but thank you. Blessed is he who eradicated idol worship from our land. So if you pass a destroyed temple of Zeus or something in Israel, you say, blessed are you, Hashem, King of the universe, who eradicated our idol worship from our land. Idol worshippers can do righteous things. To call them a tzaddik might be a bit of a stretch, Yos. Okay, because worshiping idols is a violation of the first and most important of the Noahide laws. Al Hazikin, the Gemara explains that if you pass a place where idol worship was eradicated outside Israel, you say, blessed is he who eradicated idol worship from this place. So if you pass by, so it would seem that if you pass by Stonehenge, which was once a place of idol worship and now is no longer, maybe you should say the bracha. Okay. Al Hazikin v'zava'o to Ra'amim, which the Gemara will explain, which is basically Zikin's vote and Ra'amim are basically what the Gemara will say. Our shooting stars are comets, and on earthquakes and on thunder, Valaruchos and unusually big winds, Valabrakim and on lightning flashes, you say, Baruch Shekochu Goroso Melel, blessed is he whose might and strength fills the world, but as we'll see later in the Gemara. On lightning, you can also say who creates the work of creation. So, right. And if you look, 1 minute, please. Yeah. Well, Gemara is going to explain it. The Gemara will explain it in one moment. And so when we get to the Gemara, we do all the Mishnahs of the chapter first. That's the way this chapter is set up.
Not one Mishnah.
Right. That's the way this chapter is set up. It's multiple Mishnahs, but in the Gemara, it's all one for whatever reason. Just one moment. Hold on. Just 1 second, please. Just 1 minute. Just looking for one thing. So, okay. I'm just opening up the Gemara. So he translates, the Gemara will discuss what Zikin and Zavod are. Yeah. So on thunder and earthquakes, you say these brachot. Okay, let's go back to the, yeah. Alaharim, Valagvot, on mountains and on hills that are very unusually big. The Gemara will discuss this. Valayamim, and on seas, Valanaorot, and on rivers and midbarot. Very big rivers, very big seas. And on very big deserts, we'll see later. Now, anything that's unusual in its size, you say, blessed is he who creates the work of creation. Rabbi Yehuda says, if you see the great sea, which means to say either the Mediterranean or any of the world's oceans, you say, blessed is he who made the great sea. And it's called great because it's next to Israel, but it also applies to all the oceans of the world. Now, this is only true when you see it, when you see it once in a while. When I travel down to New York on the 95, I see the Atlantic Ocean on my left multiple times in the journey, so I never say this bracha. When I was living in California, and I didn't go down to the coast often, so then I said this bracha.
It's used for a lot of things.
Right, Osamasa Brescia. You can also use it for lightning. Ala Geshamim, on unusually on on rain that was eagerly anticipated, when there was a drought, and Basura Tova on good news. You say Baruch Tova Meitiv, blessed is he who is good and does good. Al Basura Rot, on bad news, you say Baruch Dayan Emet. You say, blessed are you, the true judge, as we do at a funeral. When you build a new house, or you buy new garments, you say, Baruch Shechiyonu V'Kimonovi, blessed as he was kept us alive to this time. But the point is that, but nowadays, because garments are not a big deal, we only say the bracha on special garments. And there's a great deal of
the coronation on Shabbos.
No, but if the king was Jewish, he'd make a bracha on his new crown.
Those clothes, everything he's wearing.
Yeah, but he's not Jewish. He's not going to say the bracha. Mavarich ala ra, mein ala teva. We make
Rabbi,
it. Yes.
when it's written here, the great one who sees the great sea, is it true that in Hebrew there is no word, exact word for ocean, but only sea and great sea?
Right. And right, that is correct.
There is a word.
So is it Gaboyam?
Okeanos is a borrowed Greek word. That's correct. Yamim, seas, refers to all the seas in the world, because it's connected. So whether it's the Mediterranean, the Atlantic,
I think it's using braces.
Mikveh Hayamim, the gathering of waters, he called seas. So Yam is a term for all seas, whether it's the Kinneret Lake or the Pacific Ocean, are all equally called Yam. Any gathering of waters. Now, one makes a blessing of good, of evil like good, and of good like evil. It means that the brachot of Atova Meitiv and Dayan Hamet are related. Vatzoik l'sha'avar, and someone who prays for the past, harezu tefillah shav, it is an empty prayer. In other words, you don't pray Hashem, an example, someone whose wife was pregnant, and he says, he says, may God cause my wife to give birth to a boy because he wants a boy. This is an empty prayer, because once she's pregnant, it's either a boy or a girl. It's established from the very beginning of pregnancy. If he was traveling along the way and he's coming to the gates of the city, V'shama called Tzvacha and he hears a cry in the city, and he says, may it be God's will, it shouldn't be in my household. This is an empty prayer.
Oh, wait a minute, but today it's not. They told him already it's going to be a son or a girl.
But the point is, whether they told him or not, it's an empty prayer, because we know what it is. And God knows what it is already. Once a woman is pregnant, you can't pray for it to be a boy or a girl, because it's already established. You don't pray for something that is already established.
Correct.
Yeah, because then it's not pray, it's trying to manipulate.
Well, you can't change what God already decided.
Yeah, that's right.
Now in those days, the big cities were full of, in Israel, they were often Greek cities, Roman cities, they were full of bad people. So you have to pray, if you enter a city, because the Jews mostly lived in rural places. And if you go into a big city, big cities are dangerous. They're full of bad people. So you have to say a special prayer before you go into a big city and when you leave it. Anichlas, the krach, someone who enters a big city, mispalo shtayim, you pray twice. Echas b'knisat, one when you enter the big city.
What about the tzvacha? We already did it.
Yes. And one when you leave the city. Ben Azai says, Arba, 4 prayers. Shtayim b'knisat, so 2 prayers when you enter, Ushtayim b'tziyato, and 2 when you leave. No saying hadah shalom. The general principle is one gives thanks to God for the past, but can you cry for help? Allah said on the future. So that's the rule. You pray for the future and thank God for the past, and you acknowledge God even for bad things. And this is the next piece. Chayav adam levarech es ala ra. one must bless Hashem for bad things that happen, just like you say a bracha on the good things. Shinam, as it says, you shall love Hashem your God with all your heart. In other words, you acknowledge that everything comes from God. With all your heart, you should serve God with both of your inclinations, the good inclination and the evil inclination, which means you make the evil inclination work for the good. So you take greed and you make it greed to do more mitzvot. You take violence and you use it to protect the innocent and so on. With all your heart, your soul, even if he takes your soul, which is the obligation to give your life. If someone says, either accept idolatry or die, you'll have to give your life, like Hannah and her sons and all the Jews during the Crusades. And with all your might. So here we translate it as with all your money, because ma'od, might. So in other words, even if you have to give up your property to keep Torah, you do so. With all your might. We can read it midecha, your measure.
He doesn't say that. He lists it as an additional mamonecha.
Another example. There's yet another one. With all your might. Ma'od sounds like mida, measure. That every measure God measures you out. Have a modelo, thank him. So you have to acknowledge and thank God even for bad things that happen to us. There's more acknowledgement than thanks. You admit that everything that happens comes from God, and the bad thing that happens is also Hashem's will. I do not deny that God is present even in my troubles. Now, another rule, lo yakal adam es rosho keneged shara mizrach. Just a bunch of rules about behavior, that when the temple was standing, or even after it's destroyed, the eastern gate faces directly into the Holy of Holies. When you stand at the eastern gate of the Azara, you gazed right at the gate of the Beit HaMikdash, of the Beis HaMikdash itself. So a person should not act frivolously when he's facing the eastern gate, because you're facing directly the Holy of Holies, and a person should behave properly in such a place, even if you're distant from the temple. Shumachuvam, because
today you're at the Minhara, and they tell you that's where the Kodesh was.
Right, but the tunnels were not underneath. Tunnels were not sanctified. That's where you're allowed to go there. Shumachuvam, because it's facing the Holy of Holies. A person should not enter the Temple Mount, but makla with your staff, minola with shoes on, ubafundato with your wallet, uvaavak shalraglov, or the dust on your feet. Below Yasenu Kapandria, when the temple was standing, there were many gates to the courtyard of the Beit HaMikdash, and it was in the middle of Jerusalem back then. So you're not supposed to, you make it a Kapandria, a shortcut. So you want to get from one side of Jerusalem to the other, you don't take a shortcut through the Har HaBayit. Or the more so, one does not spit on the Har HaBayit. All the ending of brachot in the Beit HaMikdash, they said ad ha'olam. In other words, they didn't just say Amen. They said Baruch Hashem ad olam. May God be blessed forever, rather than Amen. When the Sadducees messed things up and said there's only one world, there's no world to come, there's only this world, they decreed min olam vad olam. Instead of Amen at the Beit HaMikdash, when the Kohen said a bracha, we would answer Baruch Hashem li'olam, olam vad olam, from this world to the next. Everyone should know it's two worlds. V'skino, and we decreed she'adam sho'al l'shlom chavero, and the rabbis decreed, not just the rabbis, it's already in the Tanakh. In the times of the judges, it was decreed that it's so important to ask for your friend's welfare that you greet someone with Hashem's name. So it says, Ine Boaz ma beis lechem. Boaz came from Beit Lechem and said to the people in Book of Ruth, we're going to reach Ruth, said to the people cutting the grain, may Hashem be with you. Ve'yomer lo yivarechecha Hashem, may Hashem bless you. And it says Hashem imcha gibar chayil, may Hashem be with you. the mighty one, Gomer, it says, Al Tavos, Kizikne Mecha, do not be ashamed when your mother is old. And it says, Eis Lasot Lashem, a favorite to Rasecha, this time to do something for Hashem, negate his Torah. In other words, that even though normally we should not negate, use Hashem's name just so, but in order to strengthen the belief in Hashem, we can negate what the Torah might consider ideal. Rabbi Nosson says, Rabbi Nosson says this means that one can nullify a principle of the Torah for the sake of doing for Hashem's sake. So for example, the Gemara will give examples that since Hashem wants you to greet people with respect, we use Hashem's name. Ordinarily, we'll be very careful about using Hashem's name. And all of this will be explained at length in the Gemara. And this is where we conclude today. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And we're back on Sunday. 1 minute, we're back on Sunday morning, and we're also back on Monday afternoon. Yes, so we study 7 o'clock. We study Nistar. We study Jewish mysticism. Okay, everyone, all the best.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom to all.